Hi friends, welcome back to nitahcrochets. My name is Anita. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this puffy skater dress. This is a request by Sarah in my community tab, and I really hope I did a good job for you, Sarah. So I am going to let you know that this dress is very simple to make because we are working with basic stitches, and I've also made sure that the mathematics bit of it is rolled out and made easy. Okay, there is so much to love about this dress, but personally what I really love is the coverage. Ooh, the coverage is so good. Like, I love the coverage, I love the cinched waist, I love how this dress really flatters the body and gives it shape and form. Last but not least, our membership is open and we do have so many tutorials for members only. Like the tutorial for this dress, honestly, you're missing out on a lot if you're not part of my membership. Please join membership so you can have access to tutorials as this and much more. Okay, now let's dive into what we need for our puffy skater dress tutorial and get started. So for this project, you can work with any cotton DK yarn. I'm going to be working with this Winter King yarn, and it's about 300 yards per ball. And you need between 12 to 14 balls of yarn to work this entire dress. You're going to be working with a 4mm hook. Then strictly, you're going to need a tape measure, a pair of scissors, and a darning needle. So let's get started. To make this even simpler for all of us, what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape measure, take your measurements from the top of your bust all the way to your lower waist, and note that number down, okay? Then after, you take measurements from the top of your bust to the bottom of your bust, and also note that number down. I'm going to put it in drawing over here so that you guys can clearly understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now this is going to be our bust, and from here up to here, the bust, I do recommend that a size small works 4 inches, a size medium works 5 inches of length, and a size large works 6 inches. And then from here, I think we are going to have literally have the same number of inches. So we are going to have about 6 inches of length from here, 6 inches. That is for size medium and size small and medium. Then size large, we can go all the way to 7 inches. So for our foundation chains, if you know you're a size small, that means you're going to work all together. Since I told you the bust is going to be 4 inches and then the under bust is going to be 6 inches, so you're going to add 4 plus 6 and it's going to give you a total of 10 inches. So your foundation chains should be equivalent to 10 inches. And then if you're a size medium and you know that your bust has to be 5 inches of length and then 6 inches of the under bust, you're going to add 5 plus 6 and it's going to give you 11 inches of length. That is from top of your bust to the to your lower waist, sorry. And then if you know you're a size large, then we are going to say 6 inches for the under bust plus 6 or 7 inches depending on what you chose, okay? And this is going to give you 13 inches for your foundation chains. So now you know the calculation for your foundation chains. Now let's get started. So we are going to get our yarn and hook, and we are going to make a slip knot, just like that. And then we are going to work the number of chains equivalent to the number of inches that we agreed our foundation chains should be. I am working this for a size medium, so I am definitely going to be working 11 inches for my foundation chains. Inches, like you can see. Okay, now I'm going to add 1 chain at the end. So I'm going to work into the second chain stitch from the hook, and I'm going to work a single crochet and then work 1 single crochet into the next, work a single crochet in the next, and I'm going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end, just like this. So work your single crochets all the way until the end. Let me get back and show you what to do. Okay, so here we are. I have come to the end of my row. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get a stitch marker to mark where our bust is going to stop. Now returning to our book right here, we said a bust for a size small is 4 inches, and a bust for a size medium is going to be 5 inches, and 6 inches for a size large. So I'm working for a size medium. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from this end where we started from, and I'm going to measure 5 inches. So this is where my 5 inches have got to stop, right here. So I'm going to place a stitch marker into the stitch that is in line with the 5 inches. This is us securing room for our bust. There is going to be some mathematics on to this project, I swear to you. Now that we have finished working that, this is what we are going to do. Okay, we are going to now chain 1 turn our work a single crochet in this very first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next, and you're going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the stitch before the marked stitch. Okay? So do this all the way until you are right here. That's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. And now once we get to our bust, this is what we are going to do. We are going to take out our stitch marker, yarn over. Into this very first stitch, we are going to work a double crochet. And we place our stitch marker into this double crochet. Then work a double crochet in the next stitch. Work 1 double crochet into the next. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. And you're just going to continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until you come to the end of your row. So here we are at the end of our row. This is how our work looks like. Now on the next row we are going to chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, it's just my turning chain. And here we turn our work. Now you see, when you look at these loops for these stitches, you see that we have a back and front loop. This the stitches for our bust are always going to be worked into the back loop. Okay, all stitches that we are working for the bust area, which is up to here, are going to be worked into the back loop. So just keep that in mind. So we are going to yarn over, get into the back loop right there, and work a double crochet. Get into the back loop, work a double crochet. Back loop, double crochet. So you're going to do this all the way until the marked stitch. We are working 1 double crochet into every back loop until the marked stitch. So let me meet you guys there and then I'll show you what to do. So we are here. I have worked my double crochets into every back loop until this point. Now I am going to take out my stitch marker because I've already worked my double crochet into this stitch, and I'm going to place it into this very last double crochet stitch I just worked. Then, since now we are working the underbust, we are going to get into this stitch and work a single crochet. We are working a normal single crochet. That means we are working in all the loops. Okay, so we work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of our row. Okay, so do this until the end of your row and I'll meet you there. Sorry, we are going to chain one, turn our work. I am working the last row for this part with you. Into the very first stitch, we work a single crochet. Remember, we are working into both loops, okay? So work one single crochet into the next, one single crochet in the next, and just continue working one single crochet into every stitch until you are one stitch before the marked stitch. So that means you're going to do this until you are here one stitch before the marked stitch. Okay, so that's where I'm going to meet you. So here we are, and what we are going to do is we are going to take out our stitch marker and then yarn over into the back loop of what was the marked stitch. We are going to work a double crochet. Place our stitch marker into the stitch because that's where our bust stops. Yarn over, get into the back loop of the next stitch and work a double crochet. Work one double crochet into the back loop of the next stitch. And here we are just going to keep working one double crochet into the back loop of every stitch all the way until we come to the end of our row. So I'm going to let you do this all the way until the end of the row right here, and I'll come back and show you what to do. Okay, so here we are. All right, now we are going to repeat the same thing. Okay, when you get here, you're going to chain to turn your work into the back loop of every stitch, working one double crochet in every back loop all the way until you are right here, and then from here you work one single crochet into every stitch until the end. So this is what we are going to repeat until we have a width of about 3 inches for size small, 4 inches for size medium, and 5 inches for large. But let me explain something so you guys can get it, just in case you are working for a different size. So if you look at this design, we do have a sharp end here, which I am not about to start now. The reason as to why in the image, if you saw my tutorial request that Sarah sent me, in the image it really looks sharper, like she really went down with this curve, and that's not what I want for real. Because the more we go down with this curve, the more it's going to make the hem of our dress look like that, which I do not want. I don't want something too sharp. So for me, I am going to go like this, and then like this, and then also this side like this, and then like this. This will be a much softer curve, and it's going to give us a very good result. Okay, so that's why I am going to work a couple of rows straight, okay, before I start going down my my tassel. Is it tassel or something? Yes, before I start going down like this. So for that to happen, you're going to first of all measure your waist, okay? Take your waist measurements all the way around and then divide that number by 2, okay? For example, if you have a 34-inch waist, we are talking about the high waist. If you divide 34, when I was writing, I wrote bust, but let's use waist, okay? So if you divide 34 by 2, you get 17, all right? And then we are going to divide 17 by 2 because that, by getting 17, we have half our waist width, all right? And that's for a size large. Now, if we are to get 17 and divide 17 by 2, it's going to give us 8.5, all right? Now, 8.5 is the quarter of our waist measurements, okay? The quarter of our waist measurements. That means from the side of your waist to the center of your waist. That would be the quarter of your waist measurements. Now for me to apply my design, because the quarter of our waist measurements is from there up to there, it would be 8.5. I am using the bust area on the image because I don't want to overcrowd the image as well. So that would be 8.5, and then we are going to divide 8.5 divide by 2. and it shall give us 4 point something. Now 4 point something is the actual width I'm going to need you to work before we actually start going down with the increase of our tassel. So 4 point something is going to be from here up to there before we go down our tassel, if you get what I mean. So for the best results, if you're working any other size other than I am working, get your waist measurements, divide the number by 4. Okay, when you divide it by 4, you get the quarter of your waist, and then you divide the result that you got from dividing by 4 and divide it by 2. Okay, for example, 24 divide by 4 and then divide the result, which would be what, 6? Yes, 6. Now divide 6 by 2, which gives you 3 inches. So that means when you're working these rows that you're about to work on your own, you're going to work up to those 3 inches or 4.5 inches or whatever inches that you got from your results. I hope I am clear. All right. So let me get back after you have that, and then I can show you what to do. Okay. Oh, friends. So here we are. I have worked all the way, and right now I have about 4 inches of width, just like I had told you. The width we are taking into consideration is the width for our underbust. And right now what I'm about to do, or what I am going to do is start to go down, okay? Starting to make this increase that creates this sort of like sharpness at the center of my torso. So please make sure that your last straw has been worked and you are at the bottom, okay? It will make no sense at all if you find yourself at the top. Please make your way back to the bottom so that we can have some order on this project, because if we are at the bottom and others at the top, we are going to lose track at some point. So let's make sure that for every transition, it finds us at the bottom of our row. Okay, so I'm going to start working an increase over here. So I will chain 1 and turn my work into this very first stitch. I'm going to work 2 single crochets all into this very same stitch. So just make sure you have 2 single crochets all in this very first stitch. Okay, so that's an increase. And then we go ahead and work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way. So from here we are going to maintain 1 single crochet into every stitch. Just like this. So continue all the way until you get to the stitch that is before the marked stitch, that is right here. That's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do. So here we are, like you can see. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker. Up here everything is going to basically stay the same. So we yarn over and into the back loop of this next stitch we are going to work a double crochet, get into the back loop of the next and work a double crochet. Please always remember to place your stitch marker back into the stitch into which you worked your very first double crochet stitch. Okay, so we continue working 1 double crochet into every back loop of every stitch all the way until the end. Now to maintain a good or secure edge, I usually work my very last stitch in both loops, okay? Because if you work into the back loop for the very last stitch, there is a way the stitches feel weak. And remember, this is like the end of your row, so just in case you needed such a hack, you could use that. If it does not make any sense for you and you feel you're confident with the result of your work, then that's also okay. So do this all the way until the end of the row, and I'm going to get back to show you what to do. Okay, so here we are at the end of our row, our very first row for the increase, and now we are going to work our next row. So we chain 2. Remember that chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, it's just our turning chains, and turn our work into the back loop of this very first stitch. We work a double crochet and then work 1 double crochet into the back loop of the next stitch, and this is what you're going to repeat all the way until the marked stitch right here. Okay, so here we are Okay, and we are going to get our stitch marker and place it into our very last double crochet stitch. This is to help us on our next row. Now into this next stitch we are working into both loops and we are working a single crochet. Continue working one single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to repeat this until the end of your row. So you're going to work one single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of your row. So we are working no increments on this row. Okay, we are working all the way until the end of the row, no increments whatsoever. Right now it just doesn't look like we have had that very much difference with the increment that we need to have right here, but over time as you go ahead and work your rows, you're going to find that the increment actually becomes more and more visible. So what you're going to do is you're going to repeat these two rows that we have done previously, this and the next, and this row, sorry. That means you work an increase when starting the next row, and then the next row after that will not have any increments. So we repeat that for about 4 extra inches for size medium, 3 extra inches for size small, and then 4.5 for size large. So that means that all in total you're going to have about 6 inches for size small, 7 inches to 8 inches for size medium, and then 9 inches to 9.5 for a size large. But I already gave you the calculation on my diagram, so at this point the inches that you're about to add are the ones that are going to get us to your actual quarter of your waist measurements. Okay, for example, if you have 24 inches of width for your waist, that means the quarter of 24 inches is 6 inches. That means the total measurement for your piece is going to be 6 inches. That's if you're working for a size small. So I have worked all the way. I am working a size medium, just in case you forgot. And right now I have a width of 7 inches. I worked about, I don't recall. I'm trying to recall. So I worked about 17 rows for my increase here. Yeah, I worked about 17 rows, and you will see that the last row will not be with an increase. It will be the row where we work just one single crochet in every stitch all the way until the bottom of the row. And that's to our advantage because it's what we are going to base on. Sorry, it's what we are going to base on to now build a decrease that is going to look like the edge on this side going this side. Okay, so once again, I do recommend 13 rows for size small, giving you about 6 inches of width right here. So size small will have 6 inches. And then size large, I do recommend about 19 rows of increase. What I mean by increase is working one row of increase and then the other row without increase, but altogether what those rows that give you this type of edge should be. They should be 19 for size large, and you should end up with about 8.5 inches for a size large, okay, of width right here. Between 8 inches to 8.5, because I am considering that maybe you have a belly, maybe you don't. So just be between 8, whichever works for you is what you choose. 8 inches to 8.5 inches. And now from here, we are going to start working our decreases that give us this sharp edge, okay, over here. So to do that, make sure that your last row is the row where we don't have an increase, okay, because that's on which we are going to build the decrease. So here we are going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we are going to skip the first stitch and get into the next stitch. This is where we are going to work a single crochet. So that means this is our decrease. Okay, so if you know that you don't know how to work with the single crochet stitch and you get to confuse stitches when you get to your decreases, please just make sure that you get a stitch marker and place it into this stitch so it can help you know that this was your last stitch, so you don't confuse the last stitch with the chain 1. Okay, and then from here we are going to work one single crochet in every stitch. I'm going to be working only 2 rows with you and then let you work the rest of the rows on your own, because really everything we're about to do is pretty much the same. The only difference is we are working at decrease, not increase this time. So work your single crochets all the way until the stitch before the marked stitch, and then from here you're going to work into the back loop of every stitch, working a double crochet all the way until the end of the row right here. That's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do. So guys, I'm so sorry, I forgot that I was recording a tutorial, and once I came to the end of my row right here, I started to work my double crochets as I should, which I know you already know to do. And I've just remembered after passing this, and I'm like, but wait, I was recording, you know. So yeah, once you get to the end of your row, obviously you're going to chain 2 and then work 1 half double crochet into the back loop of every stitch until the marked stitch, and then from there you're going to work your single crochets as you should all the way until the end of the row. Okay, so nothing is happening on this row. Nothing is pretty much happening on this row all the way until the end, and I'm going to meet you at the start of the next row. Then I show you how to work it, and there I will explain one thing and let you work the rest of the rows on your own. This is how it looks like. You can already see at the bottom here that there is some sort of change, okay? Yeah, and the decrease is pretty much coming up. So here what we are going to do is we are going to chain 1, and we are going to repeat the same thing that we did when we were starting the decrease. So chain 1, turn your work, skip the first stitch and work a single crochet into the next stitch. So this is our decrease, and from here we are going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way until we come to the end of our row. So work 1 single crochet all the way until you get to the marked stitch here, to the stitch before the marked stitch, and then from here you're going to work 1 double crochet into the back loop of every stitch all the way until the end. Okay, and once you come to the end, the next row will not have any decrease. Okay, so the next row you just chain 2, work your double crochets into the back loops, and then get here, work your single crochets all the way until the end of the row. Okay, so that means we are working 1 row of a decrease right here at the start of the row, and then 1 row of just normal stitches without decreases. Okay, so that is going to help us catch up with this. Okay, so that we do have the same edge on this side like this as on this side. So you're going to repeat that until you have the same number of stitches as you had right here before working your increase, or right here. Okay, so you're going to repeat that series of decrease, working 1 row of decrease and 1 row without a decrease. Repeat that until we have the same number of rows as we had on these rows where we had not yet started to work our increase. So do that, and I'm going to meet you there, then just explain something for you to continue this, because obviously to continue this is continuing what we did right here, working our single crochets without increase or decrease whatsoever all the way onto the other side. So here we are. I have worked all the way. You see what I have now. Okay, right now I have the very same number of stitches as I had right here. Okay, so what is left for me is now to build on this side what I already have on this side before I started working my increase. So these are the rows I am going to be working onto this side as well. But so far this is what we have. So we are no longer increasing or decreasing anymore. We are just going to work straight. So I'm going to be working just 1 more row with you, and then I'll let you work, 1 or 2 rows with you, and then I'll let you work the rest of the rows on your own. So once you are here, we have stopped decreasing. So what we do is we chain 1 into this very first stitch. We are going to work a single crochet, continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until we get to the stitch before the marked stitch. So work all the way until you are right here. Then I'll meet you there. Obviously, you know what to do. So when you get here, you start to work one double crochet into the back loop of every stitch all the way until the end of the row. So let me meet you on the next row and then tell you what to do. Okay, so I have worked all the way until the top, like you can see. Now, when you get here, you're going to do the very same thing. It's just me trying to make sure that you all are on the same page with me. So here you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, it's just our turning chains. And from here we are going to get into the back loop of the very first stitch and then work a double crochet. Then continue working 1 double crochet into the back loop of every stitch until you get to the marked stitch. Okay, so we are working our way back down. Remember, we are not working any decreases or increases. We are just working straight until we have the very same number of rows as we started with on the other side of our work. Okay, so do this all the way until you get right here, and once you get right here, you're going to now work 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way until the end of the row. And these 2 rows is what you're going to repeat and repeat until you have the same number of rows as you had for the inches that started this part. Okay, here we are. This is how it looks like. Now what we are going to do is we are starting to work towards the side of our back. Now I am going to take out my stitch marker and I'm going to count 5 stitches upwards, okay, from what was previously the marked stitch. 1 2 3 4 5. And the reason as to why I'm doing this is I want us to work towards the back. So this is more like the underarm, more like the armpit. So I want us to work towards the back, but taking up a portion of what is our bust to give it some sort of like support. Okay, that's the sole reason as to why we are getting into these stitches. So we are going to mark this stitch. Okay, now we are going to start working towards our underarm. So chain 1, turn your work, work 1 single crochet, work another single crochet in the next stitch, and we are going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch until the marked stitch. So work 1 single crochet all the way until the marked stitch right here. So here we are. I have come to the end of my row, and now to work my next row I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and here I am going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way back. So just do this, working 1 single crochet into every stitch until you make your way back to the end of the row right here. So this is what you're going to repeat. Just chain 1, turn your work 1 single crochet in every stitch, and you're going to do this for about 2 inches for size small, 2.5 inches for size medium, and 3 inches for size large. Like you can see, this is what I have. But you don't have to make it too wide, because when we pull, this single crochet stitch really has a good stretch with it. Okay, so keep that in mind. And right now we are going to start working the holes into which our strap is going to pass. Our straps are going to pass. So we chain 1, turn our work, and into this very first stitch we are going to work a single crochet, and then we chain 1, skip 1, work a single crochet in the next stitch, work 1 single crochet into the next, 1 single crochet in the next. These are 3, a single crochet into the next, and a single crochet into the next. So those are 5. So we have 5 single crochets before we work our next chain gap. So we chain 1, skip 1, Then work 5 single crochets into the next 5 stitches, just like that. I have worked my 5 single crochets. No, I still have one, so we work the last one right there. Then we are going to chain one and skip one, work a single crochet into the next stitch, and here we are going to make sure that we have 5 single crochets. Those are 3, 4 and 5. All right, then chain one, skip one, work 5 single crochets into the next 5 stitches. Those are 3, 4 and 5. Then again we chain one and skip one, work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of the row. That's if your single crochets no longer tantamount to the single crochets that you need before you work your next chain gap. So we have created chain gaps for our strap. It's not visible, but it will be visible, and honestly I don't like very big gaps. So now we are going to work a row of single crochet over these stitches so that we can secure them. Okay, so chain one, turn your work, work 1 single crochet into this very first single crochet stitch, and here we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch. That means even when we get to the chain 1 spaces, we are going to keep working 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space. You see where it is? Yeah, you work a single crochet in there. Then you continue working 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way until you come to the end of your row. Okay, so the spaces will at some point become visible. Yeah, when we put our strap, it will pull it to the way that it stretches this gap up. Okay, so do this all the way until the top, and after that you will cut your yarn and weave in your ends. Now you see this little extension that we did here? It's exactly what we are going to do onto this side. So what you will do is from the stitch where we started our double crochet, you're going to count 5 stitches all the way up to match the stitches that you have on this side. Okay, and then when you mark it up here, you're going to start working your single crochets into every stitch just like we did onto this side. After that you will work your chain gaps for the strap and then work a single crochet row over it. So we are just getting what we have here onto this side, and after that we are going to be back to, I think let's start with working the lower bit of the dress before we can actually come back up here to work the closure. So let me meet you after you have everything complete, and then we can start working on the bottom of our dress. All right, so here we are. This is what it looks like. I have worked extensions on either side, and this is what I have on this side. This is what I have on that side. Now, what we are going to do is start working along the edge, the bottom edge, and on that we shall build our skirt for the dress. Okay, now to get started, we are going to pick it up from where we left off. Remember I told you, you must make sure that your last row is at the bottom so it's easy for us. So we are going to chain one and turn our work to the edge just like that, and then we are going to start working into the single crochet posts along the edge. So we are going to work 1 single crochet into every single crochet post. The good thing about single crochet is it's very easy to see where you have to put your stitch because the posts already show themselves. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every single crochet post along the edge until you get to the deep end of our edge. Okay, so you see you're going to go all the way until this point right there. Okay, yeah, that's where I'm going to meet you. So because this is where the deepest end of our edge is, as you can see that I'm looking for that single crochet post where we didn't work an increase. That was the post on which we started to build the decrease on the other side. Now into that single crochet post we are going to work 3 single crochets all in that very same spot. Then I'm going to get my stitch marker and place it into the second single crochet stitch of the 3 stitches of the 3 single crochets I have worked. Okay, this is just to help me mark my mark the center of our you know, of the edge of where I need to work my increase on the next row. So we place our stitch marker in there, and after that we are going to resume working one single crochet into every stitch, into every single crochet post all the way along this edge until we come to the end of the row right there. That's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. Okay, so now this is how my work looks like. I have come to the end of my row. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work chains that are going to connect this side onto the other side, creating a waistline. Okay, so for me I worked 20 chains, but you can work more or less depending on how many chains you need to have this piece being positioned to stretch out to meet your lower waist measurements. Okay, so once you have the chains that you need, and when you get your work and stretch it out, it meets your lower waist measurements, then you're going to work a slip stitch into the very first stitch that started the row. You see that? This piece looks small, but it is in position to stretch. If I get my tape measure and lay it onto my piece, I am working this for a lower waist of about 30 something inches. So you can see that when we stretch it out, I'm just trying to hold so that my chains don't unravel. When I hold my piece, before I even hold my chains, you can see that it's in position. This is before I have even stretched it, okay? Now when I stretch it, you're going to see that it gives us a lot more width than we actually thought we can have. Do you see that? Okay. So with the stretch, it actually meets me where my chains initially were. Okay. And then when I add the chains, you can see it can stretch all the way. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. You're going to hold your work and make sure that when you stretch it, it can go all the way to meet your lower waist measurements. Okay. I hope that is clear for you guys. So work your chains, and once you have your chains, you're going to then work a slip stitch into the very first stitch that started the row right there. Now we are going to chain one and turn our work, and then we are going to work one single crochet into every stitch and every chain stitch that we have on our row, and we are going to do this until we get to our previously marked stitch, which is the stitch at the deepest end of our torso. So I'm going to let you work your stitches all the way until that point, then I can get back and show you what to do. So when we get to this point, which is the center of our deep end, we are going to work 3 single crochets into that very same stitch. Okay, at this point we don't need the stitch marker anymore, so you can place it away. After you have your 3 single crochets into that very same point, you're now going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of the row. Once at the end of the row, you will work a slip stitch. So that's where I'm going to meet you guys and then show you what to do. So here I am after I have worked my slip stitch and come to the end of my row. This is how my work looks like. At this point, I feel like we are ready to start working the lower bits of our dress. But as you can see, my work looks small, but I assure you that it's going to be in position to stretch out to the width that fits the size that I was working this for. All right, so to get started on the lower bit, we are going to start now working double crochets. Now here we are going to chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and we shall turn our work, okay, into this very first stitch. We are going to work 2 double crochets all in that very same stitch. Now we are looking to start working ruffles, and this is how we are going to do that. Okay, work 2 double crochets into that next stitch as well, and we are going to just keep working 2 double crochets into every stitch all the way around. Every stitch we are going to work 2 double crochets until we come to the end of our row and work a slip stitch. So I'm going to let you to work all the stitches as you should all the way around until the end of our row. Okay, and I'll meet you there and show you what to do. Okay, so here we are. I have come to the end of my row. This is how my work looks like. Okay, Now to work the next row, we are going to chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and then we turn our work. Okay, into this very first stitch we are going to work a double crochet, and then now on this row we are going to be working an increase into the second stitch. Okay, so into this next stitch we are going to work 2 double crochets. Okay, and then we work 1 double crochet into the next stitch like that, then 2 double crochets into that next stitch, all in that very same stitch. We go again, 1 double crochet in the next, just like that, and then 2 double crochets into the next one, all in that very same stitch. Okay, so we are just going to do that and repeat it all the way around until we come to the end of our row and work a slip stitch. Okay, and this will be the end of our increments for the ruffles that we need for our dress. So let me meet you at the end. So I have come to the end of my row, and this is how my work looks like. Yeah, by now it has started to give us the ruffles that I think that most of you have been waiting for. This is the front. So here I'm going to chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. Then I'm going to turn my work. Into this very first stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet. Work 1 double crochet in the next stitch. 1 double crochet into the next. So for this row and the next rows to come, we are simply working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until we come to the end of the row, and that's what we are going to repeat and repeat and repeat until we have the length of the dress that we desire. So I'm going to let you work your 1 double crochet all the way around, and then when you get to the last stitch, work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch that started the row, and then chain 2, repeat that, work your double crochets, work a slip stitch until you have your desired dress length. Then I will get back to show you what our closure is going to look like. So I've worked my way down. I will be adding a little bit more length down here, but for now this is how it looks like, and I want us to work finish off the top part and also add our straps to it. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to get into the very last double crochet post here, and attach our yarn just like that. Then we are going to work a single crochet. So once we work a single crochet here, we are now going to get into the bottom of this double crochet post and work a single crochet. Do you see that? We work a single crochet there. Get into the next double crochet post, the bottom of the next double crochet post, and work a single crochet. Work a single crochet in the bottom of the next double crochet post. And we're just going to continue doing this because this is what is going to gather up our piece. Just like that. See that? And as you can see, it starts to like gather up, okay? Like that, you know. And this is what you're going to do all the way until you come to the end of your double crochet posts right here. So that's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do. Okay, so here we are, and I am at the end of my row. So you can see this has sort of like gathered up, and that's what we were looking for. So what we are going to do from here is we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Work 1 single crochet in the very first stitch, Now remember, this is at this point up to the width of our underbust. Okay, since we worked one single crochet into every double crochet post, that means now we have the same number of stitches all the way across as we do have down here at our underbust. But because this is more like the halter, the top side, like the halter neck, it's a bit more narrower than the bust. Okay, so we want to narrow this down just a little bit more, just slightly more, before we start to work our straps. And now to do that, since we have worked a single crochet in this very first stitch, we are going to work a single crochet in the next stitch. So those are 2, single crochet in the next stitch, those are 3, single crochet into the next stitch, those are 4. Now into the 5th we are going to work 2 single crochets together. Okay, just like that. So we are working a decrease every after 4 stitches. We go again, 1 single crochet in this stitch, 1 single crochet into the next, 1 single crochet into the next, those are 3, single crochet into the next, those are 4, and then into the next 2 we work 2 single crochets together. You see that? And you can really tell it's like, getting narrower. We go again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 in the next, 1 into the next, those are 3, 1 into the next, those are 4, and after they are 4 we work 2 single crochets together. So do this the way, or do this all the way across this whole entire row until you come to the end of the row right here, and I'll meet you there to show you what to do next. So I am at the end of my row, like you can see, and here I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to be working 1 single crochet into the very first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, and then continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch. So on this row we are working 1 single crochet in every stitch until we come to the end of the row, and this is exactly what we are going to do for the next row. Okay, even on the next row we are going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. Okay, the next row is the last row for the top of our dress, then we get to the strap. So let me get back and show you how to work the strap. Okay, so here we are. This is how it looks like after my 5 rows at the top of my bust. Now we are ready to work our strap. So we are going to chain 1, turn our work, work 1 single crochet into this very first stitch, work a single crochet in the next, and do this until you have 5 single crochets. I'm making it 6 so that we have a broader strap. Okay, so this is what we are going to repeat all through. You chain 1, turn your work, work 1 single crochet into every stitch, chain 1, turn your work, work 1 single crochet in every stitch, just like that. So I'm going to do this until I have a total of 45 rows. Okay, so far we have worked 3. I am going to go and work my 42 rows, and then I get back and show you the length of my strap, but you can adjust accordingly if you feel like those are not enough rows for the length of the strap that you desire. I'm going to get back to show you how we can attach our strap, and then you will work the strap on this side on your own. Okay, so now I have finished working all my rows, like you can see, and I'm going to turn to the back of our dress. If you remember the rows that we worked on the side of our underbust panel right here, This is exactly where we are going to attach our strap. Okay, so you lay it over and then turn it in out. Now to attach the strap, you can either use a yarn needle or you can use your hook. But I'm going to use my hook because I don't like to switch tools. I usually just like to work with the same tool all through. So here we are. I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch that is in line with, into the single crochet post that is in line with my loop, and then pull it through and work a chain and turn my work. And here I'm just going to work a single crochet into that very same post. Okay, this is to help me join the two. Do the very same thing into the next single crochet post and the single crochet stitch on the strap. Okay, so just keep doing this all the way until the strap is fully attached onto the dress and all stitches are fully worked into. And just like that, you come to the end of your row and then yarn over and pull through your loop, and you'll secure this end and weave it in later. So basically this is how it should look like. Okay, so now you're going to do the very same thing onto this side. Just like you can see, I have already done mine. You will try on your dress, and if you find that your strap is too long, you can just come over here, undo that part, and then, you know, undo a few rows or add a few rows if you feel like you need more length with your strap part. Yes, this is how it looks like. What is left is our closure at the back, so we are going to be working a strap. I'm just going to put this away. You're going to get your yarn, any color of your choice, obviously, and then you're going to work a slip knot just like that. And I personally worked about 200 chains, but you can work between 200 or 250, depending. But also you don't want it to be too long, but also you don't want it to be too short, so it's better it's long than short. So once you work all your chains and it is long enough, you are obviously going to get into the second chain stitch from the hook, okay, and work a double crochet. Get into the next stitch, work a double crochet, and then you will come back working one double crochet into every chain stitch all the way until you come to the end of your strap. So this is how your strap should look like once you come to the end of it. Okay, it should be as long as this. Yes, I wanted a thick strap because it really gives us an edgy look and a very, very good, you know, more like corset closure at the back that someone wants to look at. Sometimes you just are not looking at the front look, you also want to have some drama to the back. Okay, so once you have worked your strap just like I have, you're going to come over here and you're going to start feeding it into the chain one spaces, if you remember them right here. Now, like for me, it's quite a bigger strap compared to the chain one spaces that we worked, but you know, it's obviously going to fit at the end of the day, so you just find your way into it. So you know, the way like you do your shoelaces, it's exactly how we do this one as well. It's a crisscross closure, so we just go crisscross from one end to the other end. So I'm going to let you just do your crisscross closure in that kind of manner, and once you have it, you will cut your yarn, weave in all your ends, and your dress should look like this. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for coming to the end of this tutorial. I'm really looking forward to a transition of this dress. I hope you see what I make of it after this. And I also encourage that you join my membership because that video will be for members only. So thank you so much for watching. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. Goodbye.